All right. Live here with we got Mr. Nick Votrobek,
Hey, hey.
king of the Votrobek dynasty.
It is I am the leader of the dynasty.
um,
Partially owned by my brother,
partially
Eric.
owned. So cool. Just wanted to have Nick. He's one of our top guys for this year, and he started with us when
About midway through November, basically.
November.
Beginning-ish November. I got sick for 2 weeks, so it's kind of like
So 6 months
yeah, 6 months
total.
in, give or take, yeah.
Cool. And then we'll go into a little bit of your background, but I just wanted to pull up the report, the official numbers for the year. So year to date, we have up till week 1 of May. So four full months in,
Mm-hmm.
an extra week. Total for the year, you're at 168,273.
Not bad.
So on track for
Not bad.
about 500.
Yeah, we're on track.
That's
Maybe even 6. That's the real
that's
goal.
solid.
That's the real goal.
That's solid. Yeah. And then what was your let me pull this up. But what was your best month? It was last month, right?
Yeah, last month I think it was like 47 or 48, nearly 48 or something like that.
And then January, was that like 30,
20,
20
no,
something?
wait, that was 30. It was 30.
So it was like January, February, 30, 30, and then
40, 40.
40, 40. Nice. That's awesome. Well, cool. So obviously you sling. That's why I wanted to have you on here.
Yes, sir.
We'll do the goal. We'll kind of clip 2 different videos.
Okay.
First one, I think it's helpful to give people context of like
Mhm.
what your background is, how you got
Okay.
into this, that kind of
Right.
stuff.
All that.
And then the second one, we'll jump into. I'll basically be a customer, and then you can pitch me.
No, close you.
And I'll give you all the objections, everything.
Can't
Um,
wait to give you the bean.
so
Perfect.
previous to this, you were in car sales. Tell us about that. What was your position?
So I was in the car business for about 4 years. And I started as a car salesman for a while. I was
Mhm.
doing pretty good in the car business. Actually, at first, I was kind of like not so good at it, but I eventually learned how to sell really well and
Mm.
started selling 20-ish, 30-ish cars a month. And then
Which in that industry,
it's pretty good.
30 is like top, and then 20, like
20
over
is,
15. If you're over 15 every month, is that considered like
yeah.
you're good?
A 20 car salesman's a dang good salesman.
Okay,
Like,
gotcha.
if you do 20 cars a month, you're amazing. Like, you're not amazing, but you're good. You're going to be
Yeah,
healthy.
top guy,
You're not going
like
to
one of the top
struggle.
guys.
Like,
Yeah.
you'll be fine.
Okay.
30 is like super impressive. Like, if you're consistently doing 30, you're a dog.
So would you equate like 30 in insurance, like 30 car sales equates to what, like 60 plus in insurance?
Probably like, yeah, 50, 60K
Okay.
guy.
So
Easy.
only a few every month hit it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
like you're a different kind of person. You know, you're not
Okay.
you don't take objections easily.
So yeah, you were like a top dude in that industry.
Try to be.
And 4 years, you said?
Yeah, then I did finance too, so I was doing the back end
Okay.
warranty sales. That's kind of like the next tier. That's one of the harder jobs in the dealership.
That's the
to do.
promotion. And then,
Yeah, because that's where the strongest closers go.
Got
So you have to be kind of witty. You have to be smart. You have to be very, very well articulate, I guess. Like,
right. Yeah. You gotta. It's
can't.
I guess, higher pressure situation because like
Yeah,
your
you can't.
table, you're at the table across from the buyer.
100%. You're the money of the dealership.
Yeah.
So the dealership like runs off finance typically.
Mm.
Like, that's where the money is made.
That's where us, the buyers, get kind of screwed.
100%. That's exactly where all the money's made.
when I got my Raptor, I was like, because I haven't bought in a car for a while, like
Yeah.
going to a dealership, because
Right.
these days you just buy it online and get shipped to you. But when I bought the Raptor, Johnny took me to it was like not a friend, yeah, an acquaintance that he knew, and I was like, dude, hopefully, I was sitting in there like, hopefully I'm not getting screwed. I think
Hopefully
this
I'm not
guy's
getting
giving me a
ripped.
good deal. I think he did, but like
Yeah.
the pressure was definitely on, and I'm a laydown, but
Sure.
like I can imagine.
I think all salesmen are laydowns, which is ironic. Like, we're the easiest people to sell on earth.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, that's good. So did sales? I guess if you were the top producer, did sales kind of come naturally, or?
Yeah, it wasn't hard. Like, it wasn't too tough to be good at sales, just because I've always liked talking to people.
Yeah.
And it just, with prior jobs being like in the bartending world, working in Lockheed Martin, working at like the high level executive protection.
I bet you're a great bartender.
Yeah, I was pretty good at it. But then, like, working at Lockheed, I talked with a lot of high ranking like individuals and like generals and high level politicians, like
Oh, gotcha.
like Mike Pence, Ivanka Trump.
Okay.
big people,
Really?
like Ted Cruz. Yeah, I've met a lot of cool people, and Rick Ambrose, Marilyn Houston.
So that definitely helped because
Yeah.
obviously, like, you can like talking to people, but then that you add the like pressure.
Yeah, and I think being surrounded by high level individuals like really changes your scope of how people talk to each other
Oh, totally.
because you just realize like how they interact with each other and how they carry themselves and
Right.
different things like that. So you really set yourself up for success because you try to mimic them in some ways, you know?
Gotcha. Okay. No, that's interesting. Okay, cool. So you're doing well. It wasn't that like when you transition insurance, it wasn't like the car business was
No, it's
bad. Like you're
great.
doing fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Actually, before I came here, I don't know if you remember, but I texted you like twice. I bailed on him twice, like to be
yeah.
like, "Hey, I'm having a killer month.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think it's time."
Yeah. Which we understand. Like
Sorry.
we've hired a lot of car guys. And it's
Yeah.
like if there's a bonus like looming
Yeah.
or whatever the
I did actually give up my bonus. I could have gotten a bonus
really
if I stayed another month. But I'm glad I
really
didn't. Because,
yeah. So what was it then? So obviously things were going well, which is different for me because like my
Mhm.
background was solar.
Right.
I did do well early on, but when I switched, it was because things weren't going well. So what was
Yeah.
like the push to switch industries?
Well, it was really Chris Amaya was my biggest push because I remember telling him specifically when he was working at Verizon, we knew each other at the gym. I was like,
Mhm.
bro, you're making great money. Why would you do that? Like, why would you go into
Oh, so
life
you guys,
insurance?
okay, got it. I didn't know that. I didn't realize. I knew you guys met at the gym, but like you were around him when he like first started doing this.
Yeah, yeah. He was still
Oh,
the manager, doing the managing stuff at Verizon.
huh.
He's making good dough, and I was like, bro, like I've heard that life insurance stuff's not a good business to be in.
Yeah, I've
And
heard it's a scam.
yeah,
Yeah,
and then I didn't see him for like 2 months because he was just doing this the whole time.
interesting.
And then
Okay.
I saw him one day, and I was just like, hey man, like how's that life insurance thing going? He was telling me he was making like 20, 30 grand a month. I'm like, fuck you, mean, you're
Yeah,
making 20,
like
30
brand
grand.
new, like
Yeah.
in the industry. Yeah.
So I started looking into it a little bit, and I came by, I think like September or something, maybe in August, I think maybe
Yeah.
it was.
It was the day the Wi-Fi was down,
It
right?
was the day the
I
Wi-Fi
remember
was down.
because I was like, "Who's this big dude with the long hair
Yeah.
and the polo? Like
Yeah. Why the
you're wearing
fuck is
like
he
a
here?
pink flamingo
I
polo or
was.
something." Yeah,
It's our
but
car salesman
but
polo.
didn't I? By that time, it's all dude. That feels like it's forever ago, but it was only like
Yeah.
6 months ago.
Which is crazy.
So, but
Yeah.
I had met Garrick already, right?
Yeah, Garrick.
Okay,
No, you had met me first.
got
And
it.
then my
But
brother
DC,
came in after. You met DC prior
yes,
to me
and then
because
Chris was like,
DC was the one that really took the
right.
leap before me.
Right, but you were like on the not the back burner, but like you were. I remember because Chris was like, dude, the guy that I've been excited for is Nick. He's gonna
Yeah.
be here, and then I see just a happy go lucky dude
Right.
with long ass hair and
Long
the
hair flow,
flamingo.
the Maui wannabe, yes.
It's like, all right, all right,
But yeah, and like, I saw the success and I was like, there's no way this money can be real. Like, it's crazy. But and I was doing well in the business, but like, I could just see myself capping out.
right.
And there's something like to be said, and like, you hear a lot of like super hyper successful people say, if your leaders and the people ahead of you are living a life you don't want to live,
Mm,
then you probably need to change something, or that's
mm,
probably not the life you want to lead to.
right. Yeah.
And I was getting to the point where I was making really good money. Like I was totally fine. My bills were paid. I was making positive every month. It was totally good.
Hmm.
But I didn't see an end goal. Like I
Right.
didn't see like myself really wanted to do that my whole life. I was fine doing it, but
Mm,
even if I was to make GM, general sales manager, running stores at a time and
yeah.
making crazy good money, I just don't see myself enjoying that lifestyle.
Got it.
And
Okay.
even if I was making 500,000 or more a year doing it, like I just didn't see myself liking that in the
Right.
future.
Yeah.
Could have changed, who knows? But I saw this and I saw the exit strategy in
Yeah.
mind that you were telling me about, like selling to integrity, growing your business, being able to work anywhere and everywhere, and always having this skill. It
Yeah.
was definitely a different change of pace where I was like, well, if I could get this to work, this would be something I could see myself doing for a long period of
Right. Yeah. So I
time.
think we have that similarity when we switch industries. Obviously,
Mhm.
like I thought I was gonna like I was in solar for 5 almost 6 years. So like you think, and I'm sure at times you probably thought this in the car business, like, dude, I'm making more money than I ever have.
Yeah,
Life is good. I don't.
100%.
You're not stressed about money, right?
Yeah.
Um, so you just think it's like hey, this is it. And then after a certain point, yeah, you realize because that
Mhm.
was the same for me. I was like, okay, so I'm a door to door solar rep. I'm closing, so I got
Very
off the
good.
doors, right? So I was going to houses, closing deals, got into a leadership position. So I was like, cool. But
Yeah.
then I was like, dude, what's the plan? Start my own solar company, and then what? Like, you just keep
Keep
going.
going from
So yeah,
there.
so I think that's interesting. I bet that's a common thread across like top producers
Yeah, yeah,
is
100%.
even if you're doing well at one industry, but there's no end game because
Hmm.
we just don't want to be trapped essentially,
Yeah.
right?
Well, and you probably saw this too. Like I at least remember seeing when I knocked doors for a short period of time. I remember the district manager coming in, and I was like, or the regional, I think, and he was like the most grumpy person I had
Yeah,
ever met in my entire life. I was like, dude, this guy
really,
looks like he hates his life. and,
really,
and that's kind of how I saw it in a lot. So like, if you see most finance managers or
yeah,
like GSMs or GMs of
yeah,
dealerships, bro, like they're pretty grumpy people. Like they
yeah,
just it's because they live their whole life at a dealership and like
right,
they have no exit. It's very very similar in
yeah,
solar. I know you have to dedicate an absurd amount of time
yeah,
to like be successful. So
right.
that's another aspect. Like,
Well,
did you see your managers in the same light? Kind of like they were like maybe not negative, but like you're like, man, I don't know if I want to do that.
no, to be honest, no. It was actually like the opposite. The regionals and the DMs that were there for a long time, like they were they were I would say in a position kind of like where I am now,
Hmm.
where it's like, dude, you have full control. Because like for the first 3 years of doing this, it's like your only choice is to like sell or die, right? You're
Yeah,
just selling, 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 selling,
or you're sinking.
right? Or you're sinking. So I'm just now to the point where like I'll still sell, but I kind of can like have full control. I can sell today if I want to. I don't have to. There's no
Hmm.
pressure, which is really cool because we built an agency that's big enough to like offset my costs and
Hmm.
expenses to where it's providing enough revenue. But no,
Right.
I to be honest, like I think in solar is very similar to this in the sense that
Oh,
like
really?
there are guys that I'm sure don't like the doors, but like the guys that like were regionals and stuff, like dude, they were chilling.
No, so they were happy. They were
but
content. Yeah.
but like the to me it was like, all right, so let's say I become a regional. If I'm working for a company,
Yeah.
I am limited to like what's the company's like politics, right? Like because there's a
You're like,
seniority
yeah.
factor, right? It's like how long have you been here? What you got to wait for this guy. Oh, this market, like we're capped per market. So if there's too many managers in Colorado, which happened at the time, it's like, hey, dude, sorry, there's just no room.
Gotta
So it
get you.
was it was like I wanted to be there, but it was like I didn't have full control,
Mhm.
and like I gotta have something where I'm like, dude, it's all on me. There's no like in Colorado, like we're not limited to like a geographic territory. Like we can
No.
sell in all 50 states.
Right.
Um, I don't have to wait in line. Like there's no. It's literally just like as you've experienced. Like, dude, I just come in, I work, and we're going faster. Like you want to go faster than the next guy. You're not held
100%.
back by him. So all of
Right.
those things I think resonate with me, and
Mhm.
that's that's the biggest thing is like you said, you want to make sure that there's actually an end game and that you have control over it. So I think that's
Exactly.
that's the that's the switch is
Yeah,
like the
because if you're a
control.
true, I guess, entrepreneur or salesperson,
Right.
and you really don't want to take your foot off the gas, most industries are going to limit you, like you're
Correct.
saying. Like
Yeah.
that there is eventually an end to the trail, or like
Right.
there's only so much I can eat in a day, right?
Right. Yeah.
Here it's like, oh, you want to make as much as you want, do it. Like
Right.
you have infinite amount of time, infinite amount of leads. Like you
Yeah.
can do as much as you want. You can
Right.
grow as fast as you want, recruit as many as you want.
Yeah.
And there's no limiting factor. You don't have to wait for the seat to open up. You don't have to
Right.
wait for somebody to walk in or answer a door and hope they buy something or limited inventory. That's the other crazy part.
It's
There's no
great.
brick and mortar to it
Right. You're not
too.
just like stuck on a Tuesday afternoon. No one's walking in the dealership.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure there was plenty of days where no one, you don't talk to anybody at the dealer,
Yeah.
like,
Oh yeah. No
or you
show.
just call, like,
Yeah. 100%.
right.
Or
So
like you say they come in, but it's just totally the wrong car. They don't want that car. Like
yeah.
they're like, hey man, I came in for that Audi Q5 and shit, it's just sold. Like, can I show you something else? And they're like, no, I just wanted that. And they're
Yeah.
like, well, shit, sorry, man. And like life insurance is so cool because there's no brick and mortar aspect to it.
No.
It's like, hey, man, there's plenty of $10,000, $50,000, $100,000 policies. Actually, infinite, to be
Yeah.
honest with
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
So do you want one?
Yeah.
There's no waiting period.
Pick your 10, 15, 20,
Right.
100,
Yeah. So I didn't
10
have to
million,
wait.
20
Like even
million.
with solar, right? Like you have the delay of install, right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think that's like the biggest win in insurance as a whole is like
Yeah.
I see why it generates the most millionaires
Yeah.
is because there's no cap to any of it. Like you could
Inventory is not an issue
no,
on
it's
on both sides, right? Like product inventory. Yeah,
yeah,
I think you've told me you're like, dude, it's a intangible product. It doesn't exist.
it doesn't exist until you're dead.
It's on a piece of paper, right? Yeah,
Yeah.
which is crazy. So yeah, we
And
don't.
even then, it's not tangible. They're not sending you 10 grand cash. They're sending you a fucking wire transfer.
Yeah, it's poof. And then on top of that, like our model, because it is different, in the
Yeah.
industry. Like for context, for people who might be watching this, like our model is, we rather than like, Nick becomes licensed and then he goes and bugs all his friends and
Mm,
family to buy insurance.
right.
We just spend some money on advertising and we can turn it on and off like a faucet. So,
Yeah.
we can, if you're having a bad day or bad week, the solution isn't just like, well, hopefully it's better next week. The solution
Mm,
could be as easy as like, all right, let me put in this lead order. Let me buy 100 leads and just start calling,
exactly.
and then you're off to the
Yeah.
races.
And I mean, that's the first thing I read about too. I was like, oh crap. Are they going to tell me to like write down 50 contacts and sell
Yeah.
insurance to them? Or we're just going to keep these and then you can,
Right. They sell it for
yeah,
you.
yeah.
They don't give you the commission
We'll
because you're
sell to my
learning.
family for me.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, we're not doing that.
It's,
Like,
dude, there are
it
huge
blows
companies
my
that
mind.
operate that way, and yeah, insane.
Blows my mind. Like,
So, and just for like context too, going back, like
mm,
it's cool when you come across, like, obviously I've hired a lot of people, over the last
sure.
3 years, like,
I've seen quite a few already.
right, yeah, since you've been
Yeah.
here, there's probably been, would you say, what, 50 to 100 that have been in and out?
Easily, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, easily, yeah.
So, and there's been hundreds that I've seen come and go. Even guys that, like, at the time of them quitting were like way ahead of, like, I would have died to be in their position, and they still just didn't make it.
Crazy.
So I think what's cool though is, like, when you do find a person like you who ends up joining the team and you share the same vision, but also you don't just like say, oh, that's so cool, I want to do that, but you actually do it.
Mm,
That's been a cool part to watch you, like, first just sling right out of the gate. You were
yeah.
never like shy about just doing the work, making the calls, getting your teeth kicked in, and
Hmm.
and selling a bunch. And then it's been cool now to see you kind of transition into arguably like the most structured team that we have in the agency. you
Yeah.
run a you run a
I run
pretty
a
tight
tight
ship,
order. Yeah, it's
but
a
it's
tight ship,
it's good.
but it's
It's good.
necessary. And and I don't think it's necessary for everybody. Like you didn't have to write a tight ship for me and Garrett. We just were like, we're in. Let's
Right.
do it.
Right.
But and it's good because like that was a one major blessing in my opinion is I ran into you.
Mm.
Like running into you, like that was another thing is like you kind of run with the people you want to. Like
Yeah.
you want to travel in the same kind of pack of people that like grow together and have the same ambitious ideas. And I think that's an interesting thing about this business too, especially our office,
Mm.
is just the individuals we have that are all very like-minded. They're all growth aspect. Like
Yeah.
they're not content with just like being a good producer. Like
Right.
you can sell 500,000 in a year, and it's like, yeah, that's cool, but like, what do I do after that?
Right.
Like, there's no minimum ceiling here. It's
Yeah.
with you and with like Chris and Maya and Jesse and Johnny and Jay and Garrick and Lane. There's so many I could name, but we're all in the same Blaze. I got to throw Blaze in. We're all in the same boat where it's like we're gonna grow whether you guys like it or not,
Correct.
and
Yeah.
we're gonna grow at our speed, which is pedal to the
Pretty
metal.
fast. Yeah. 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 We're going.
And I think that's so important is running into guys like you too, because the like-minded individuals, we can bounce ideas off each other and see if like, oh, am I just being an idiot about this or does this make sense? And
Yeah.
they're like, oh wait, this does make sense. We should totally implement it. But also, what about this? I'm like, I never thought of that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh,
That's so good.
like with our lead system and stuff like that, like how we honeypotted recently and like
Right.
stuff like
Yeah.
that. And even Garrick setting up like the dialer system with our fully automated system essentially.
Right. Yeah.
Like, just bouncing ideas off each
It
other.
it's cool. Yeah, and I think that goes back to like the theme of, like, I think what we and then the other 10 to 12 guys. I mean, we have 14 guys at our 20K dinner
Yeah,
every
which
month,
is so cool.
which is a record. But we've never had under 10 guys. So you could argue, like, all right, there's about 10 to 12 core guys that were all aligned. And I think it goes to what we were talking about earlier. It's like, as cliche as it sounds, like freedom life. That
Mm.
wasn't just like freedom is the end goal,
Yes.
right? Freedom, financial freedom, time freedom. You
All of it.
know, I grew up in a household where, like most households, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure you too, where like, dude, my parents did stress about money,
100%.
and especially certain times like 2008, dad was in the home building industry, so it's
Oh,
like, dude,
sheesh.
you just get wrecked. And
100%.
we're seeing that now with tariffs and um, things change in the world, and like certain industries just or certain businesses just start to like
Yeah.
suffer because of it, right? And we're
100%.
we're in a position to where not only like are we free to do scale and do whatever we want, but it's also like you talked about, like Garrick coming up with the whole, not coming up with it because it's been done before, like guys like
Sure.
Harold Durana, but really like leading the way and just doing it. I
Yeah.
think that's what is cool about this too for A players, is like you can truly do whatever you want,
Mm-hmm.
right? And there's no like I'll never, like I'll tell you if it's a dumb decision, but it's only because I've done it
Yeah, you
and
failed.
I've messed it up, right?
Yeah.
When someone, for example, is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go try like these 4 different vendors." I'm like, "Dude, I have tried hundreds of vendors.
I've tried
Like,
all
this
of
is why we got
them.
leads here."
Yeah.
Or someone asked me like, "Hey, dude, should I just go in home? Things aren't working well on the phone." I'm like, "Dude, you can go in home, but like, I did the in-home sales. Like, this is much better. You just gotta hunker down and do this."
Oh
So
God,
like,
I don't know how you
like
did
we
it.
can, like, me and Easton, even you now, like we can, like, we're ahead, so we know like, hey, don't do that. Not because I don't want you to try it, but because I tried it and I failed.
Yeah, it's a no
But
go.
it's also cool for like to see what you and Garrick have kind of developed, where it's like, dude, you guys have just created it. You didn't have to ask for someone's permission. You didn't have to go up the line to
That's why we love
okay
it.
it. Yeah, like you guys can just try it, and
Yeah,
then obviously it works for you guys. You run with it. So
100%.
I think the overarching theme is like what this industry and what we have structured, because it's definitely not the same. I say this industry, but there's not many groups. There's definitely other groups. We're not the only ones that are successful, but
Tons,
like
yeah.
we have really figured something out, and it allows guys, which if you look at our office, it's like a melting pot of so successful solar guys,
Mm-hmm.
successful car guys, successful phone sales guys. Is there any other industries? And then obviously
Mm.
the Wesleys and
Oh,
Jessies of
yeah,
the
just
world
your
that
offshoots. Yeah,
no
yeah.
sales experience.
Right.
Um,
And that's the other cool part is you're taking people out of just random industries and we're molding people into
right,
something special.
right,
It's a teachable skill,
right.
which is the most interesting. Like it's the only industry where I've met people where I don't know if they'd actually succeed in another industry of sales,
Yeah,
but they succeed
so
tremendously in
true.
this one. Where I'm like, there is no shot you
Like
could sell
Wesley.
a car. Yeah, like well, no, Wesley could sell it.
Yeah,
To be
Wesley could
fair,
sell
yeah,
everything.
but like maybe not door to door. Like I don't think he'd be very good at that. But like, but there's just like people I
It's
meet,
different.
like
Yeah,
and I'm like, wow, you're selling like 10 or 20 or 30 or whatever a month, and I'm like, I you would just have crumbled in
yeah.
the other businesses. I'm like,
uh,
that's amazing because it's such a coachable thing. Like,
right.
and I don't want to make it sound easy because it's not. It has an
No.
8% success rate. It's fucking hard.
Yeah.
But if you're, and I think that rate is so low because I don't think people can last the 90
No.
days or even 30,
Right.
or they're not coachable. Like, if you can just get
It's
coached
those
in
two.
this
Yep.
and just like leave your ego at the doorstep, take all the notes and ingest as much information as you can in this and memorize a script and basic objections.
Yeah.
I mean, frankly, in 30 days to maybe 60 to 90, if you're really struggling with like tone and stuff,
Yeah.
probably make 200 plus a year doing this. Like,
Right.
and you could be terrible
Yeah.
like
You could
today.
walk.
Like,
Yeah. You could just like strong arm your. Yeah. Strong arm into like 1 to 200 grand a year
100%. Like,
just by showing up.
six figures would be like 100 even would be like
Well, dude.
stupid
Well,
easy.
dude. Our average agent as of last month, the report is just a dollar under 17,000. So 17,000 issue
Yeah,
paid, right?
makes
Which
sense.
you're based depending on where you're at. If you're a lead assist agent, you're either 65%, or if you're a broker at that level, you're at like 95,
Yeah.
100%. So that agent is making anywhere from, our average agent makes anywhere from 90 to I guess whatever 17 times 12 is about 180, 190. So yeah, it's between that 100 to 200 mark, like almost
Yeah,
exactly.
about 150K a year, which I could tell
Do you
you.
have to take
Oh
that?
no, it was
Okay.
just I would want to make sure it
We're waiting on a huge
wasn't
deal.
somebody special, very special. But more details to come. But yeah, but like I mean, first of all, the average American salary I think is like what $67,000 or $70,000 a year.
Dude, that seems high. Is it?
I
Is it
I
that?
think maybe. I mean, in the state of Colorado, it's probably higher. It's
Sure.
probably like
Yeah.
80 because I don't know you're gonna live here otherwise.
Right. Yeah.
But imagine making 120, 150. It's a
And that's our
20-year-old kid.
average,
Yeah, I know. And like, and
which
then
is
the crazy
nuts.
part is some of these are 20-year-old kids. I could not fathom
Right.
being 20 years old and making 150, 120, or 100 plus 200,000 a year.
Right.
Psycho.
Crazy. I
Like I
know.
see kids like Wesley, who's 20 years old, and he's on track to make like over $500,000 in a year. And I'm
Year
like,
one.
year one year.
Crazy.
Like,
And he's an anomaly, like because
freak of
people
nature.
are like,
Yeah.
okay, anybody can do this. No,
No,
Wesley is a dog, but
he would have
that
sold anything.
that is insane
It is,
when
but
you
like
say it like that.
just that factor alone, like even me working my ass off or you working your ass off in solar, like there was no opportunity to make that kind of I could have been a 30, 40 car salesman and I would never have made $500,000
Right.
in car
It was definitely
sales.
like, so that's where solar, definitely guys that crush, but less frequent at that
100%.
scale. Like year one, 500, 600 G's. Like he'll
Yeah,
be our top rep. But,
for
well, it's
sure.
between, there's a couple, but
Yeah,
I think you and him are,
we're right next to each other.
you're the ones consistently talking trash. So
Yeah, we're together.
yeah. But no, it is crazy. So, well, cool, dude. Well, I guess as we kind of wrap this segment up, is there any advice like for someone that is either considering
Mhm.
doing this or well, yeah, we'll just leave it at that one. For someone that is considering, maybe they don't like their current situation or they're considering getting into insurance, like
Mhm.
what's your piece of advice aside from call you to work with you? Like,
Yeah, just
what's
call
your
me, but
yeah.
not if they want to live on the tight
You're
ship for the
right,
Votrobek
right,
dynasty.
right.
It's a tight ship. But if I was to give any advice to anybody, you want to talk, if it's sales or not even sales, like
Yeah,
you got to be willing to take a lot of ownership and risk, and that's something you got to take on, and you got to accept it before you even walk into this business.
mm,
Like you're gonna have to know that all my mistakes are my mistakes. Like there's no one to blame in this business. It's all on you
mm,
because it is your business at the end of the day. Even though I'm like your boss or you might be their boss,
sure.
at the end of the day, it's still going to be their own business here in the future. And I would come into it humble, do not have any pride, leave that at the doorstep,
Mm,
be willing to learn, be coachable. And if you can achieve those things and be okay with taking on some risk and some stress, what's on the other side is more than you could ever have dreamt of.
right.
So if you can really just humble yourself, take on a short bit of risk, and put in your effort to the max, I assure you, you'll succeed.
It's worth it.
It's pretty much a foolproof plan if you're willing to do it.
Correct. Yeah,
If you're not, you will fail, and you will fail
and
tremendously.
you'll hate it
A hundred
for
percent.
sure.
And that's where the risk comes into play. So if you're not really accountable, if you're a person who needs to be managed regularly, you call out of work all the time, you're showing up
Yeah,
late, this probably isn't going to be your deal.
not at
Like
all.
it
Yeah,
just being straight up.
right.
Like if you want the comfort salary, you're making 10 grand, 15 grand a month and sales just, and you need to stay there. And like you're afraid of a couple losses here and there. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably not for you,
stay there.
man.
But if
Yeah.
you're trying to make, yeah, like 5, 6, like it's a $500,000 plus opportunity for the guys that really like go all in with
Yeah.
it.
Even if you don't want to go that all in, if you can go all in for a period, 200 grand a year, 300 grand a year, no problem. Like
Right,
you should not have any issues whatsoever making that kind of money.
right.
You can cruise for years. Like
Yep.
there's a few guys that do that. I just want to cruise. All right, man, you're making well over the national average. Do it.
Have fun. Yeah.
And yeah, if you want to buy your freedom, like you said,
Mm-hmm.
and you certainly can, you can buy your time, you can buy your freedom, you can buy much more than that.
Mm-hmm.
And if that's what you want, then do it. But if
Sold.
you don't, don't.
Sold. Cool. Well, for those that end up watching this, reach out to Nick. Where should they reach out to you if people do watch it? Who knows?
Oh yeah,
Nick,
yeah. So
what's
Nick
your
James
Instagram?
277. It's like the
Instagram.
Dave Chappelle skit, Rick James.
Oh,
Yeah.
nice. So
So
Nick
Nick James,
James
Nick James 277 at gmail dot. All right, that's
at
not gmail.
gmail.com.
At Instagram.
Good part to cut.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
good.
that's a cut.
Awesome,
All
dude.
right, cool. Thanks, man.